Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm with Leo. You guys, we got to talk about BB23. We had an episode tonight. We've also got live feed spoilers to talk about. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. I really appreciate it if you would do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But right now, let's talk to Leo. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you. I feel like it's been a lifetime, right? Now I'm on the other side. Talk about Big Brother.
That's right. I don't have to grill you about your Amazing Race experience this time. We can just chat and have fun.
We can criticize other people on TV.
What a concept. Welcome to my world.
Constructive criticism.
Always. And we always try to keep it positive around here. You guys, Leo, as you know from Amazing Race, we love him. Friend of Nerdtainment. And I'm excited that you're watching Big Brother.
This is new for me.
What is your Big Brother past?
I've encountered episodes. I've watched parts of seasons.
They come at you? They just like...
Yeah, well, basically. That is sort of how Big Brother works, I think. But I haven't appreciated it as a game before, right? Like I was kind of curious about personalities, and now I realize it's just one giant board game or like a Secret Hitler game for the whole summer, which is wild. I mean, I can't think of anything else anywhere close to that. Maybe a night of games or a weekend at most.
Yeah, I mean, when you actually have people who play, it's very exciting to watch the strategy, the manipulation. Sometimes we just have Love Island people who just want to hang out. But
yeah, I mean, just like game night. I mean, imagine having a showmance on game night. I guess that's what. Imagine not knowing the rules on like game night with your friend. That would be annoying. You wouldn't be invited back.
Or you just were like drinking and you're like hooking up and you're like, whoops.
Right.
Was this game night?
You would be, and I guess with friends, you couldn't even really vote them out. So that's
yeah, you can. You can. You can be
I should try that.
Yeah, you have even family. You can vote them all out.
Next time there's a showmance during a game mance. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, game mance. Now we have one. All right, you guys. Let's dive into this Wednesday episode. We are coming off of the nominees just happening, and there's just a circle of confusion as people are like, "Wait, what just happened?" And the reasoning we get here from Frenchie is that Kylan is a pawn. And Alyssa is the right-hand woman of a potential showmance.
A future showmance. So this is like Inception, right? Is that the movie where they convict people for their dreams? Except in this case, there's no evidence of dreams.
No.
The only... Yelling from the other room, that's not Inception. I think it's Minority Report.
I wouldn't know. So yes, whatever Alana says. I'm just going to nod along when you talk about movies.
I do that as well sometimes.
I've never heard this excuse before of like, you look like you might be in a showmance at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and just nip this in the bud before it even happens.
It's an aggressive thing to say about anyone. Imagine back to the friend group example. Imagine if you were playing games with someone, and they're like, I don't know, you might in the future consider being in a showmance with this person, and so I'm gonna kick you out of
of our friend group. Like I can't. Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense in real life or in the game of Big Brother. But yet here we are, and we get little moments of Alyssa being upset with like her little group of friends. We get Kylan being upset with his group of friends. Obviously, they were both blindsided about being nominees, and they're both upset about it. What I did love was this DR of Kylan talking about representation. Seeing someone like him on TV succeeding, doing well, and then like basically smack in the face, you might not even get the chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess another feeling on that is that the first boot of any season, it's horrible, after working so hard to get there, but also getting there is an accomplishment. So I know that in his situation, that's not the first thing that comes to mind. But
right.
yeah, I appreciated him saying that, and play that being one of the reasons he wants to do well in the game.
Right. And I think it kind of is something we talk about a lot of, like, it's always the minority of whatever. There's lots of different types of minorities. It could be the really nerdy girl who just doesn't fit in. But we've seen a lot of minorities go out first just because they don't fit in with everyone else. And that was something that Frenchie preached when he walked in the door. And
Right.
so here we are getting this moment, and it just is like, eh.
And same with Alyssa. I mean, as bizarre as the future showman's reason for putting her on the block is, any reason would have not rung true when he strutted in saying, it's not going to be a woman, it's not going to be a person of color. Obviously, he's, 3 for 2 there. And why say those things, I guess?
Exactly.
if you want to play, if you wanted to say it was pure strategy, well, that could be a thing that you said, but that's not what he said.
Yeah, now first off, I need to address that CBS is not putting the person of color in the edit. They're just focusing on the woman thing. But in reality, he said both. He said person of color and woman he wasn't going to put up. And so he went against all that. Would have been nice to just keep his mouth shut and just nominate who you want to nominate. But he didn't. So
that's where the confusion is coming from. Any confusion starts with Frenchie. He's a very confused man, and other people understandably are confused, including myself.
Right. Thank you. Exactly. All circles back to you, buddy. We have a conversation with Alyssa, Christian, and Frenchie. Alyssa's like, what and why? And Frenchie basically is like, wait, so you're not in a showman's? Wait, what?
And Frenchie was like, we would look good in a showman's. Christian said that.
Yeah. Okay, Christian. Okay. But anyway, no, not in a showman's. And he's like, you're in an alliance. And they're like, you mean on the same team? Just across the board, big old oopsies. You see it on Frenchie's face where he was like, oh, whoops. I messed up.
Dadgummit.
Dadgummit. He said today on the live feeds that Twitter is probably doing a lot of hashtag dadgummits. And I thought, I don't even know if I've heard him say that. But then we got it a lot in this episode.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to say we could make that happen. We could throw Frenchie a bone if he wants that to trend.
No, we don't need to. We don't need to, Leo. I guess he was just saving it for the DR. So he thought we were all hashtagging that. We're not. Okay, we do get a beautiful segment with Sarah Beth. Again, kind of leaning into this representation topic, which I like. She's talking about that she's bi and it's hard for her family. Sometimes she's like, why don't I just choose a guy to make it easier on my family? She gets emotional. She loves her girlfriend. It was really beautiful to see.
Yeah, and she, I appreciated also she was sharing that, like, sometimes she feels like the views she was raised with are still inside of her in some way. And I think that's something that's very relatable. Even if I don't personally have an experience like she has in terms of, having to come out or having a family who wasn't supportive or wouldn't have been supportive of that. But, in a way, what she was saying is we can recognize that we may have views inside of us that are just baked in deeply that we disagree with. And I think that's something hopefully everyone can see because it's definitely there for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, I think we all have it for something.
Right.
We're all baked. We're baked, guys. I didn't need Frenchie to start us off in that segment at all, but I was glad he didn't have anything else to say.
I noticed he just sat there, so that could have been worse.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, back to Frenchie. We see him running around like a crazy person, eavesdropping, and this makes him spiral. This is him coming at DX, Derek X.
The spiral is what I call the French Revolution.
Okay.
And I think that he really wants to have control he has a narrative that he, you know, can't keep straight, but wants to control, right? And he can't even. He walked in with so many ideas. He walked in with a lot of one-liners. You know, every confessional is a farm analogy.
Yes.
I don't buy it.
No.
You know, it just seems very scripted. And the fact that he's a super fan, you know, and I get it. Like, he's been dying to have this opportunity to be doing this, but I think he planned it too much, and that's not that entertaining. And he's not even that good at it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hi, David. I'm so sorry I didn't text you. But sorry, I'm here with Leo. Okay.
I considered wearing my David shirt, but I thought I have to do my own.
That's right. You guys, Leo and David 100% have the same shirt, and I love it so much. We got to get y'all together on a stream just wearing the same shirt. That's all. Together, okay, but we digress. Yes. Yes, that would be ideal if you guys could just both squeeze into a shirt.
Save on shirts.
Be great. Yeah. Alana and I will squeeze into one too. It's
all right.
Fair. Yeah, Frenchie watched too many seasons, wrote down in his little notebook how he was going to do it, and then he tried to do it all in the first 3 hours, and it backfired, and here we are.
Maybe like a young Frenchie, like Frenchie when he was 12 should have been on Big Brother.
Okay.
Fresh Frenchie.
Fresh. A little more fresh. He really likes to say, I'm not stupid. Every other word or sentence is, I'm not stupid. I know what's going on. So we see a lot of that here, telling Derek that he knows he's in an alliance. And poor sweet Derek, who is a recruit and doesn't know this show, just says, oh, yeah, I am. Like, he's flustered. He outs himself when he should have lied, but he doesn't. He says yes, nods along. And so now we can build up Derek X as a target. And this is what Frenchie wants.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, Frenchie has the irony to me is that Frenchie wants to go after meatheads. Now, let's not, you know, I think Brent, Christian, Travis as meatheads, borderline. I mean, you know, I think of them as not really meatheads, right? I think of Josh from Big Brother / The Challenge.
The Challenge.
As meathead.
Okay.
No
have you ever thought of the word meathead? Like, I have not heard the meathead since like the 1950s. I don't.
Right. So Frenchie is really fixated on this idea of these meatheads. And I think in his mind, I would probably just say a bro, right? Like, bros abound. It's sort of the more neutral term. And for meathead, I think of like Mo from Calvin and Hobbes, right? Like slamming against the wall. A refrigerator-shaped human. And like, Frenchie, I guess the irony to me is that meathead also carries the connotation of this like aggressive, masculine, dominating energy. And you've got Frenchie, sure, he's like smaller of frame, but he's kind of lurking around the house. I think basically threatening people with these like sort of veiled threats, like when he was talking to Derek X and saying, you know, I'd be careful if I were you, basically. Like, I wouldn't want anything unsavory to happen to you. I am HOH. And so he's I don't want to say bullying, but like he's definitely aggressively domineering. I'll put it that way. And that is, you know, he's a meathead in his personality and his gameplay.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, what the heck's a meathead? But Frenchie might actually be a meathead. Which
he has the spirit of a meathead. And I think he's projecting.
The spirit. Yeah. Archie Bunker is what I think of, like meathead. Like, what? And he was like a hippie. So I still am confused on the definition of meathead. But okay. I get what you're saying. He is very controlling, and honestly, he's becoming best friends with these bro dudes. And so it's just very confusing. But I did love Leo. Oh my gosh, this moment when he's like coming at Derek and Derek's just like following him to the door, and they left in the edit that he was like, I need to be respected. And then Derek's like, should I help you with the door?
And he was like, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I was like, Derek is like the most polite person in the house, and you're like barking at him.
Derek is just like grasping for like, what is a form of respect that would translate well to Frenchie leaving me alone right now? Perhaps he cannot open this door.
Yeah. Can I help you? Okay. All right. Well, so now we get to see a bit more of Brent. We haven't seen a ton of Brent yet, and his edit is going to be that he's got to protect Derek X because Derek is on his team, and Brent is big team sport guy. He thinks this team is everything, so he's going to protect him. What they didn't show us in the edit is that Brent is also a very domineering person like Frenchie. He does a lot of gaslighting, a lot of telling Derek, you messed up. I'm saving you. You owe me. Like, don't do anything without talking to me first. So I actually thought this edit was very polite and lovely for Brent.
Yeah, all I've gotten from Brent is, that moment where he bonded with Frenchie in the last episode. And, I think all of these bros, dudes, meatheads, they're all very smooth, and like how sort of gullible Frenchie is to that, or how susceptible he is. Again, I think this is a very deep complex where like I find myself wondering one of two things. Like, has he never encountered someone who he characterizes, stereotypes as a meathead? I can't believe we're saying that word so much. And if so, like, surely you've met people and learned that they're more complex than you initially thought, right? Like for Frenchie to be having these realizations about people as though he's never realized that people are more complex than he once thought doesn't feel genuine, because that just isn't realistic. Like, you go through life meeting people, like it's almost like the only thing he's done is encountered stereotypes, but then he's suddenly able to see more. So I don't get it. But I think that as far as the Brent edit, I didn't realize that from the feeds. So I'm interested to see more of that, and who knows, maybe Brent and Frenchie will have a Domineer off shortly.
I think they will, because they really are like besties right now, because they are very similar, but they like to tell each other how amazing they are and how they need to do it their way. And so they do start to one up each other sometimes in conversations, and that's going to implode at some point.
And don't forget, they have a final two.
They do. We get to see that, you guys. Seth, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, we have dazzling smiles.
Super chat.
Oh, Meathead Gate. What the heck is Meathead? Okay. All right. So we get a lovely little moment here with Derek F. Frazier, Ozza, Tiffany, and Xavier eventually enters into this conversation where they're talking about being there for bigger reasons, not just this game for them. But then they have to like sort of instill a strategy of, we can't hang out together, can't be seen together all the time. We have to find an opposite, as Tiffany phrased it, and sort of disperse.
I like it. I mean, do you want to see, first of all, you might start to build a kind of a strategic relationship with someone else in the game. I feel like what I saw of last season, there were a lot of moments where someone would just sort of walk into the room and find like that whole white alliance just sort of sitting around. That's neither strategic nor entertaining. So I think it's smart. I mean, I guess it's, it's sort of the opposite of Boston Rob supervising everyone around the campfire. And I'm curious, like, do you see a downside to that? I guess, is it risky that they might
not at all.
Different relationships?
No, I mean, we see a lot of alliances do that. Say, okay, we're an alliance. We know this. We trust each other. Now we're going to go infiltrate. We're going to get info from other sides of the house. And then we'll bring it back to each other, because you want to keep your alliance on the down low. I just thought it was very interesting to hear their perspective, being a minority group that don't, like, this is our first season that we had 50% people of color. So usually you've got one or two that are like, oh my God, we have to work together. We are minorities together. And then we get a larger group this season that are like, we can't be seen together. We will be looked at, seemingly unpositively is what it sounded like. So that's how I was like, oh, obviously they have a different perspective than I do. But real quick, Leo, I have to say thank you, David, for the super chat. You silly man. I don't know. Will Alana come say hi to us? I guess you'll have to stick around and find out.
Yeah, probably that's a maybe.
That's a maybe. If we yell long enough, maybe she'll come in and tell Leo to get off. I don't know.
Exactly.
But go ahead. What were you going to say about them sort of?
I think it's a really interesting, like, I don't know. I could see that coming from a number of angles. So like when there's only a couple of minorities or people of color and they just like have no choice but to band together, or they're like excluded, then I guess at that point, there's no secret about like the fact that they are sort of forced to work together or choose to work together and aren't able to build a larger group. And then we get what we've seen in previous seasons, as far as I understand. When it's a larger group, I could see it going one of two ways. One, like, not wanting to seem as much of a threat. And then you have kind of like racial undertones to that, which would be, concerning to say the least. But then also I could see with better representation, maybe there is like not so much strategy, but just like everyone in the game is more free to sort of think, yes, about like racial issues and representation, but also maybe this person makes more sense for me to work with, and we don't have to sort of like form a huddle, if you will. So again,
that's where we're headed.
That's my reaction off the top of my head, but I'm really interested to see where it goes, because obviously with the casting being improved, we're going to see different dynamics play out.
Yeah, we're headed to a time where this doesn't matter, but unfortunately we live in a time where it does. So this does officially become an alliance called the Cookouts. It also has Kyland, who's not in this conversation here, but Kyland is a part of it. And then also, since then, Hannah has been brought in. She is also a part of the cookout here. Okay. And I loved these sound bites of Tiffany saying she's the grill master, because, honey, she is.
So I have Tiffany winning it all, I will say, on a number of pools.
Oh, good for you, because... Yep. She is playing by far the best game in the house at this point. Still early, but she is straight slaying it.
She's in control, or at least she's in control of her own, everything she needs to be at this point. And I also think, I was thinking about the end of this episode. I know Azza started out not wanting to be HOH. Oh, that's sourdough, by the way.
Hi, sourdough.
I find myself thinking I would not want to be HOH first episode. I would not want to be, have the power veto. Obviously wouldn't want to be on the block. I wouldn't throw HOH. I think I wouldn't be able to. And I think I'd try to, higher risk, high reward, play it right. But on the other hand, everyone who doesn't have sort of anything right now, they're in the middle. They seem safe. They seem like they have sort of influence and control, and they're able to build relationships without that panic, and Tiffany's among those. So I guess we will see how she plays once things become more eventful, or maybe she'll just slide right through.
Yeah, she has great relationships with just about everyone, and to your point about Azza, she now does want to win. So I have fingers crossed that this HOH goes to Azza. I would love to see that. So now is when we get this beautiful conversation between Brent and Frenchie, where they solidify their final two, you guys. And Brent goes to work for his teammate, Derek X. And this is when he brings up Travis. You really got to get Travis out at this point.
So hang on. Let me make sure I have this right. So Brent is convincing Derek X to get Travis out, and this is before.
No, this is him talking to Frenchie in the
Brent
HOH.
Talking to Frenchie and saying we got to get Travis. I wonder if at that point Brent had caught wind of Frenchie's preference to target meatheads, realized that he himself would be seen as a meathead, and was trying to sort of steer him in the right direction.
Yeah, well, that happened like immediately. What we saw in the last episode when Brent was talking about his dad dying of suicide, after they had their sort of emotional moment, Frenchie just like straight up was like, dude, I was coming for you. You were my target.
I remember that.
So Brent does know, but Brent also shares similar perspective with Frenchie of like, I don't like other dudes getting in the way of me having women. So they align on that. And so together they want to get out any guy that might take a girl away from them having the attention. That's what we're really doing here.
Wow.
That's it.
It's got to be Travis. I was confused about why Travis wasn't on Frenchie's radar in the first place. He was so fixated on Christian at the end of episode 1. And another one of Frenchie's catchphrases is, this is the worst case scenario. Can't believe this is happening. And that was, when Christian was saved by his own wild card, and then like his attention immediately shifted to Alyssa. Right, I'm looking at the teams right now. He could have gone after Travis at that point. He could have just put him in the box in the first place.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment, because Travis was well, what you're forgetting is that Frenchie has run through everybody because he changes his mind every conversation.
Did he walk in with Travis?
He did walk in with Travis. He did promise Travis immediately that he was going to be safe. But later he did circle back and say, I don't trust Travis. Travis was on the list. After Brent, then Christian, then Travis. Like, they were all on the list. He ran through all of them. But then for some reason, and I'm still confused on this, he sat down in a room with Brent and Travis, and they decided who the noms were going to be. So he couldn't put Travis up. At that point, Travis was sitting in the room, and Travis is the one who said, yeah, I don't like Christian either, guys. And Brent was like, I don't like Christian. He told me Alyssa was his type. And
these boys they're cat fighting. They
are. I've never seen this.
They're projecting. They're insecure. And I don't know if it's like just these personalities or like something that's shifted, maybe not being as sort of comfortable in the majority of the show right off the bat. I don't know, but they're all backstabbing at this point, the boys.
I've never seen a group of guys go against the other guys for girl attention. I'm sure that's a thing that happens, but I'm so used to the bros broing out together and just like picking a girl. Like, they're like, yeah, I'll take this one. And they're like, okay, then you take this one and I'll take this one. Like, that's the mentality I'm used to, which is not great, but that's what we see. And then this time they're like, no, he's taking my girl. Oh, I don't like him. He's taking my girl. I was like, what?
Yeah. Did Frenchie act like, when you say like going after a girl, Frenchie hates showmances. So I thought Frenchie's reason for going after guys was just because he wanted like to sort of not have another white male, cabal running the whole show. Right. But but then Brent, like, was Brent looking for a showmance? Did I miss that?
Brent is looking for a showmance with Alyssa. Alyssa is his girl. He also likes Hannah. So he'll take either one if either one of them is willing.
And
but Frenchie doesn't.
Alyssa.
Yes, Xavier really likes Alyssa.
And Christian thinks he and Alyssa just look like a showmance.
Yeah, Christian just thought, like, I think Christian wanted to hook up with Alyssa too. This all does stem
I think Xavier said he'd take anyone.
No, he wants Alyssa. Okay. Everyone wants Alyssa. Okay. And that is what got them all wound up and put Alyssa on the block, not thinking clearly. But it's never been Alyssa's fault because she didn't want any of these guys. But, it's so easy to blame the woman. Yeah. But anyway, like, understanding Frenchie's rationale.
The men are crazy.
Is not worth a lot of our time because it's not a lot of rationale there. He promised even Alyssa safety. So the fact that he could put her on the block, but not Travis because he promised Travis, like, it just doesn't make sense.
I think Chris in the comments just said that like Frenchie, once you've given everyone your word, you're actually kind of good to go. You're going to be breaking your word to someone. So then you can get back to thinking about strategy. I just like the idea of giving someone your word as you walk in.
Hello.
Like
A
before
super
all the house
fan
guests
who's
have
watched the
arrived.
show? No. You say you've watched this show before and that's what you do? That is a rookie move.
I do think, so you mentioned Derek X is a recruit. Brent must be a recruit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he knows how the show works.
No, and that's why he's playing a team sport. It's very interesting to watch. But back to this beautiful conversation where Brent is planting seeds about Travis, and it's honestly an easy sell because Travis has come up as a target before, but we're still supposed to believe that Derek X is the target at this point, and we go to the veto picks, and this is when Frenchie draws Tiffany, fine. Kylan draws house guest choice, picks Travis. Oh no, Frenchie can't hide his frustration on that.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, Alyssa draws Derek X, and oh no, worst case scenario. You know what? Don't promise everyone safety then, and it won't be worst case scenario. Okay, this comp.
Yes, pinball.
We're building our own pinball. Basically, we're going to drop a ball down, but we got to like build our thing, and we actually do get an interesting / winning strategy here.
Yeah. So did the ball have to touch every piece? Did I hear that right?
Some pieces specifically.
Okay.
I don't think it was every piece, but they were like, it does have to hit the banana, it does have to hit the lime.
So what I was Derek X figured it out, but I was wondering why folks weren't more interested in building kind of a funnel. Right? Like you could have a banana and a watermelon touching both sides and sort of it's more shaped like this, right? And just leading to that little hole. I feel like I didn't see anyone even try to do that. And at that rate, it doesn't matter how fast the ball drops down. It would just sort of bobble in.
Yeah, I think that because there were already some pieces placed. And so if you then have to add ones that they start specifically touched, you wouldn't be able to do that. They had to do like a S.
I want to play that game. That looked very fun.
It did. And I loved Derek's strategy. He's like, look, they're probably going to start from the top. I'm going to start from the bottom. And then maybe I can cheat off of them for the top. I love that. Great idea. I was like, these people, though, may never finish the top, Derek, and you may have no one to cheat off of.
Well, was it Christian? No, Travis was in, right? Travis was playing. Do I have that right? I got Travis and Christian confused.
Yes.
And Travis got the boing edit, which which is always heartwarming.
Oh, yeah. His captain of his team is like, I'm not even going to claim him at this point. He was handed to me last pick. She's like, oh.
Right. I didn't actually pick him.
Right. And at this point, I was like, you know what, Travis, would be a great campaign for you. You're on the block now. So you know what? Why don't you go around and say, hey, look how bad I did in that comp. I'm not a threat. Ooh.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, right. People do seem to. I think people have alluded to him as. No, that was Christian who was called a physical threat in some way. I haven't seen anyone do anything particularly physical so far. Not to mention that these competitions don't seem all that physical, right? Like this was a puzzle. They've all been puzzles so far. So
yeah,
the idea
we just sit around and
brothers kind of interesting.
Eventually they will, but until then we're going to just assume if you're a dude that has muscles, you're going to be good at physical comps. And that's not always the case because sometimes they're just muscles for looks and they don't actually work.
Just because it's a threat or a comp in the physical world. Speaking of muscles for looks, we were on vacation on the beach last week, as you know, and I saw for the first time someone who had a surgically created six-pack. Which I learned recently is a thing. Isn't that wild?
It is. Yeah.
I had no idea. And then I saw one walking by and my friend was like, wow, what a interesting six-pack.
You guys could just
I was like, you would not believe.
Oh, did he tell you that it was surgically created or you could just tell?
I believe I could tell.
Yeah. I actually have seen it in real life. Leo, later we'll talk about my past in daytime talk show production, and we saw a lot of nutty things, including people with a lot of great plastic surgery.
I mean, it just changed the way, once I learned that was possible, it changed the way I thought about muscles I saw on reality TV.
Exactly. Books and Quirks, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Super sticker. I'll come up with better songs, guys. It'll happen.
I mean,
okay, so Alyssa was close here. She almost did win, it seems like. She did say it in the house as well, but the edit also showed it. But DX, he just kept getting that straw, just like working it, and boom, the ball goes right down where it's supposed to. And now he is our first Veto winner, and good for him.
Yeah, and I mean, the way he did that methodically, I think, that's the kind of sort of calm and methodical approach that would make you, again, I don't know the competitions as well, but you can get in your head, you can panic. And I think that's probably what sets apart, the ability to do well on something like that 3D puzzle or something like this pinball. It's just being your regular self and using common sense, but easier said than done.
Right. So now we're going to see a talk with Frenchie and Derek, our Veto winner. And this is where I was like, oh man, the producers couldn't even make the edit make sense here. Because we hear again, your favorite line, worst case scenario from Frenchie, Derek X wins Veto. And I don't want to put up Travis. I don't want to have to put up Travis. And then we go to him saying, I need to get Derek to use this veto. And I was like, okay, this just shows you he doesn't make sense, because if he truly didn't want to put Travis up, then you would want the veto winner to not use it and keep the nominees the same, and one of Kyland or Alyssa would go. But the producers couldn't even make this make sense at this point.
Now, I am no defender of Frenchie. But would it be the case that if you're HOH, first HOH, you are a very confused man and you make some bad decisions, and having someone use the power of veto could take a little of the attention off of you at that point? I don't think I want to give him any credit, but I think I could see a scenario where, like, you nominate someone. If you're Frenchie, you're going to try to use your social influence / domineering to get what you actually want to happen. Again, I do not think he thinks more than one step ahead, if that. But I could see that being a strategy, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yes, getting someone to do what you want is a thing, and it's a strategy. But typically, as an HOH, you don't want to have to put a renom up unless you are specifically getting out a target, and this was your plan from the get-go. So nominating 3 people instead of just 2,
worse than 2,
is more blood on your hand. And especially the first HOH, there's no need. But in Frenchie's head, and I almost call him Fry, because that's what they call him on the feeds. They call him Fry. But in Frenchie's head, he does want to. He wants to, like, stand up there and put another nominee up, even if it's somebody that he's already promised safety to. He still wants to do it. So even though in real life on the feeds, they went in circles, use it on Kylan, use it on Alyssa, don't use it at all. Use it on Kylan. Use it. I'll put up Travis. I'll put, like, they went. It was very exhausting, and I just watched it. The house guests seemed to really be exhausted.
Brent is exhausted. He seems exhausted whenever he makes one of those speeches. Like, I remember, and whatever else you might say about Tyler Crispin, I saw a couple of episodes where he was HOH, and he was just having a blast, right? Like, when he, like it's silly, it's scripted. You have, like, all this power, and he seemed to be having fun with it. Like, Frenchie, it seems like he can't wait for it to be over, but also obviously he's loving.
Oh, I love that. He's gonna be so sad when it's.
But it's like a somber love. It's like he considers this to be like a grave responsibility, which he wants.
Right.
It's not fun.
Right. He's got the oh woe is me, the power. Oh,
the crushing weight, the burden that he bears.
Yeah. We do see I should also say, like, Derek had already promised Kyland he was going to take Kyland off. So that's what Derek wants to do. So when Frenchie's like, yeah, use it on Kyland, Derek's like, great, done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. They're going to talk about it for 48 hours. But he was like, great, that's what I'm going to do. I thought it was odd that we got a conversation here with Alyssa talking to Derek about, like, hey, you could use it on me if you want. Like, oh, I'd love it. That'd be great. And then we got no conversation with him and Kyland.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to sneak into an hour. Like, I do wish there was something in between the live feeds and the episode. But, like, I guess, I don't know.
Only because he was taking down Kyland, which, we find out here. But so if we had seen a conversation with him and Kyland and then it convinced him and he did it, that would make more sense to me, right? So why are you showing me Alyssa trying to do it and then cut to he doesn't use it on Alyssa?
Yeah, I guess I thought that for some reason Kyland was like Derek's sort of default choice. Maybe they didn't have a conversation about it, but they did have some connection that we saw, right? Like it was like a guy connection that happened at one point. There was hugging. Whenever you see the guys hugging, it's, trouble.
It's real.
Right.
Oh, it's trouble. Okay.
It's real trouble. I mean, that's when they feel like, like Frenchie and Brent, right? That totally threw off the plan to put Brent on the block. So I think maybe my assumption was that when I saw Derek X and Kyland hugging, that was the conversation.
That was that.
There
that
were
was
no
enough.
words. It was just chest on chest, back slapping.
You don't need words when it's that deep, real.
Yeah, and then Alyssa tried. I mean, I think it was interesting because, like, she said, I'll get you next week. Like, you'll be safe if you save me. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see what else she really tried. I'm not sure what I would have done. What do you say? But and especially with all the alliances flying around and everyone in 2 to 3 alliances, like, it's very chaotic at this point. She was hoping for the best.
She did what she should do. That's all you can do is say, hey, I would love for you to use it on me. And what I can offer you is safety. Like, I will not come after you. And so she did that. And
she was thought about low. It. Like, I remember in one of the pre-interviews, she said something about, like, needing to practice her fake smile. And you can tell that she, like, does wear her emotions on her sleeve, but like you can see little looks on her face, but like nothing more, right? Like just kind of going with the flow, and I think that's all you can do.
Yeah. So we'll go to the veto ceremony here. We do see Derek use it on Kyland. He takes Kyland off the block, and I don't know what Frenchie said. This speech about rainbows in farming, but it ended with a stud bull.
Oh,
and Travis, I'm going to have to put you on the block.
He was going to make a hamburger. Like, the farm, I'm sorry, like, this is what feels canned to me. Like, I'm assuming Frenchie's actually a farmer because we would have heard about it by now if he was a total fraud. Okay, so he's a farmer. But, like, it just feels super scripted, and also super focused on masculinity, in a way that just doesn't resonate with sort of his stated aversion or like not identifying as like a mask meathead bro dude, whatever. If like it feels like more projection and also more reactionary. Like that's his focus, is he's defined in his mind in sort of opposition to being a bro dude meathead. Instead of something else, like just be you, Frenchie.
Yeah, I don't know that he knows who he is. It might be. I would recommend he like sit down with a therapist for a while. Frenchie. Yeah, young Frenchie went through some things, and I don't think he's worked through them yet. Would be my guess, and I hope that he does.
About those things in the live feeds.
Maybe we will. But at the end of this, Frenchie sits in the DR and he says, "This week was very," and I was like, "Are you about to say messy?" And he does not. He says successful.
I thought this was going to be the self-awareness that we all needed from him. No.
It was not. I've yet to see it.
My jaw dropped when, like, I thought, well, first of all, I was surprised because I wasn't expecting him to be self-aware, but to go that way.
Just the fact that there was like a pause and I was like, and then he hits us with successful and I was like, what? No, one of the worst HOH reigns we've ever seen, to be honest.
Now, I think the reason he said it was successful is because he ended up getting Travis on the block. Right. Yeah. I feel like that's the only metric that could be considered a successful one. But like the damage done along the way, the broken promises, the things that were said that did not need to be said, the stress that he took on and gave others.
Yeah.
People are going to be, I think already, right, so sick of him. I mean, I know from what I've sort of gathered from the feed, it's to the point where they are now thinking maybe we keep him around for a little longer because he's such a liability or like so annoying. And so maybe but again, he's not playing 4-dimensional chess. Like, he's lucky if he stays past next week. Especially if Ozzy gets HOH.
Yeah, I mean, the upside is everyone has seen him. Everyone except for Derek Frazier. Derek Frazier is in love with Frenchie. They are definitely very close. But even Brent, who's like his bestie. Yeah, they have a final too. But like everyone sees that he doesn't keep his word, that he plays emotionally, changes his mind a lot. It's the last person in his ear that can get him swayed. Like everyone at least sees his game, but nobody is ready to target him yet. So it will be interesting to see when they finally go, ooh, he's a liability. He needs to go. Travis's last word here was, well, he's not a man of his word. And I was like, again, that would be another great campaign for you, Travis, but I'm not sure what we're going to get. You know what, Leo, this is when we go into spoilers.
Oh, right. Well, and so maybe do know what we're going to get.
I am going to do a little song. Because I have to do it. It's official, you guys. Spoilers. Okay, there we go. Was that the song? That was the song.
Okay.
David usually does it with me. It's a little lonely without David doing the song with me. But you don't know it.
Didn't do backup. No. Dance.
I didn't teach it to you ahead of time. It's okay.
Well, now I know.
But now it is spoiler time, you guys. So let's talk about where we are with the live feeds, because we do have Travis and who's on the block? Alyssa on the block. So Travis knows he needs to campaign. He knows he needs to make a plan, but he's also not really in with anybody.
I think he said he was going to make more people his homies.
He might have tried. He does have a group called Firefighters with Derek X, Travis, Tiffany, and Claire. Okay. They made a little group called Firefighters because they got to put out Frenchie's fires, is what that's about. But the plan that he's that I've only heard him talk about is making the guys worry about Alyssa being in a showmance. Got to bring that back up. If she stays, she's just going to be in a showmance and she's not going to protect you guys. Whereas Travis is like, I can be a shield to you. I will always be a target ahead of you. I will also promise to protect you. And keeping me keeps the numbers for the guys. They love to talk about dwindling down the numbers for the women just to keep the guys strong. So that is the pitch he is going to do sometime tonight. He might have already started it, but it will happen tonight. Hasn't happened yet. I don't have high hopes for it.
For his pitch?
Yeah, I don't think that's the winning pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to suggest this, but I have a reason, right? So hear me out. So one thing I really dislike about the challenge is that there's one male and one female winner, which then sort of like excludes non-binary people from being on the challenge, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
I mean, I've never heard of that like discussed as a possibility, but sort of seems like that would be the case. And in Big Brother, you don't have that, right? But you do have, thanks, Max. You do have this tendency to sort of have battle of the sexes. Or, like, I think I was reading that, like, this often, like, the guys try to just pick off the women or whatever, right? It would be a different dynamic if you had one male and one female winner. Now, again, it kind of like, then you're in challenge territory, which is like not really better. I guess so I don't have a solution at all. I'm just thinking about like in that world, you would not have the option of like making your strategy just to like pick off the opposite sex, if you will. So I don't know. I mean, I don't like seeing that be sort of the default fallback Travis plan. I think he should make everyone his homie and just want to be kept around. Maybe he should do some dishes. I don't know.
Well, I understand where he's coming from only because this is just a mentality that we see. We see this. I don't watch the challenge. I didn't even know there was a male and female winner. That's interesting. But I get it because we're used to the guys being like, oh, yeah, I can't let the women take us over. Oh, no, I lost Leo. Leo, come back. Oh, all right. Well, I'll just talk to you guys then while we wait for Leo to come. Oh, he's already back. Okay. That was quick. Yay, you're back.
I don't know what happened.
I was still going,
I thought maybe our Zoom meeting ended.
No, we are still going. We are not ending yet. Here's what I would like to see Travis do, because Travis is very close to Kyland, and Kyland is in the slaughterhouse, which is the majority alliance. They have 8 people in the slaughterhouse. That is the majority alliance. They haven't shown it on the episode yet, but he knows about it. He's in it. He knows about it. So all Kyland has to do is arm Travis with this information. There is a majority alliance right now, and these are the people in it. And then Travis needs to go to all the people who are not in it and say, and also Frenchie is in this, so I think what you say is, they've got the majority. We cannot let them do it. I will go after all of the people in this alliance, starting with Frenchie, because he turned on all of us. And I will be your shield, and I will get the blood on my hand for getting out and breaking down this majority alliance. That is what I think the winning campaign would be, because if Azza found out about this, if Tiffany found out about this, like, they would love to keep Travis to break up the majority alliance. They would love it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, the slaughterhouse, I can't with the slaughterhouse. First of all, it's called the slaughterhouse. So if you told me I was in an alliance called the slaughterhouse, I'd be like, who's getting slaughtered?
Pass.
Now, I think that a version of what you just said, because I think that's the way to go. A version of it would be, like, if I'm not mistaken, Alyssa's in the slaughterhouse, right?
Yes.
So Alyssa could defect. No, never mind. That makes no sense whatsoever. He's up against Alyssa. So
he's up against Alyssa.
Yeah, that makes no sense. He's got to form, if he can get the other 8 together and they can be sort of a temporary alliance, they can start to pick off the slaughterhouse, even if it doesn't start with Frenchie. That would have been a strategy. That would have been a Brent strategy, would be to work with Alyssa to take out someone else in the slaughterhouse, and then someone who knew the game would be like, Brent, Alyssa and Travis can't both stay.
This is good info, Miranda. Thank you. A few minutes ago on the feeds, Frenchie asked Tiffany to throw a rogue vote on Alyssa to frame Derek X. There has been talk about this over the last 24 hours or so of like, how do we frame somebody for voting incorrectly? Because, they're sort of amping up this, like, let's just vote with the house right now, which is so annoying and nobody likes it. But they want to throw a rogue vote so they can blame it on Derek X. Derek X is just the scapegoat right now. He's the easy person to like target, poor Derek. But what's interesting is that a lot of different people are talking about rogue votes. So we might actually have several rogue votes, in which case doesn't help if you're trying to pin it on somebody, but I also think it'll just be hilarious if Alyssa has a ton of rogue votes.
Yeah. Do you think the Slaughterhouse is going to vote as a block even at this point? I mean, it's a group. They've called themselves the Slaughterhouse, but most of them are also in other groups. Like at this stage in the game, it's like an open secret that there's all different alliances sort of crossing lines. I mean, maybe not everyone understands that, but you could list the people who are, in, Slaughterhouse and Cookout and Sirens. I made a list because I couldn't keep track. And so it's not at all clear to me that Slaughterhouse is going to vote as a block.
Slaughterhouse will vote as a block because Alyssa is in it, and Alyssa's on the block right now. So they're set for this vote for sure. It's the people who are not in Slaughterhouse and not on Alyssa's team that are like, we wouldn't hate to keep Travis to go after certain people for us, use them as a shield. So,
but what about like Azza? So Azza is in the Slaughterhouse.
She's not.
Okay.
I know it's confusing.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm literally reading it, and that's not true.
Yeah. Azza is not. Tiffany is not, and I know that they're both very vocal, and Claire is not. They're all very vocal about like, we wouldn't mind voting Alyssa out. They don't get along with her. They're not connecting with her. So there is a way to get Travis to stay and get Alyssa out, but people would really have to, get together and really communicate. And it's a lot easier in the first week to just vote the way the HOH wants. Even though we don't like it, it's easier for the house guests.
I would love to see Frenchie whiteboard the different alliances that he perceives, including his final two deals.
He can't even keep track. He doesn't know.
It would just be one big Venn diagram with Frenchie in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, luckily he doesn't try to keep things a secret. He tells everyone everything. And so it doesn't even matter. He can just spill it to everyone. I know that Sarah and Kyland have a final two, and they've been spilling information. You just mentioned the Sirens and that they actually changed their name to the Kingslayers today.
Okay. I like it.
Yep. That was very confusing. We thought there was a new alliance, but it's just the Sirens changing their name. And they're still very strong. For anyone who was with me yesterday, and we were talking about French Kisses, was established yesterday. Frenchie started an all-female alliance.
With Frenchie in it?
Yes.
And he called it the French Kisses?
Yeah, it was somebody like Tiffany was like, what if it's the French Kisses? Like they were all sort of egging on his ego at that time, laughing about it. But as soon as he left, they were like, are you kidding me? He's trying to tell us like he's going to be in an all-female alliance. No, thank you. He just wants us to protect him. This doesn't benefit us at all. And no siree. And Frenchie has already outed it to the Slaughterhouse. He's already said like, these girls, he even blamed it on Claire. Claire started it. They invited me. Like, who's going to buy? They invited me to the all-female alliance.
So this is all obviously on the feeds. Hasn't made the episode yet. He went up to them and suggested it. Like, let's have an alliance now with just me and you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they talked about it, and he was like, because I'm gonna be in danger next week. Probably I'll be a target. Like I need protection, and if you girls are gonna get together, like let's do it together. And you can't say no in these situations. So they were like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, the can't say no thing just brought me back to when Alyssa was asked, along with like the whole group by Frenchie, is anyone in any alliances at this stage in the game? And she was like, well, I'm on my team.
Right.
And like, I just, and I think it came up also, I forget, but it was like Frenchie and one other player who, I think, I want to say Frenchie and, no, Brent and Whitney, who said to each other, like, we're final two or something along those lines. And I'm just like, if I'm in that house and everyone's just throwing this stuff around, I don't know if I would believe anyone. Like, I would believe people when they tell their like personal stories about who they are. But do you think it's possible to play a game where you said at this stage, like, I don't really want to be in alliances at this point. Like, I just want to get to know everyone and try to do well in the comps. Do you think that's possible or not really?
No, because we do hear that. People do say that, but that's usually an excuse that you're not in an alliance with that person. If you heard someone say that to you, like, it's too early, I don't want to do alliances, you'd be like, oh, yeah, totally. And then you walk away and you go, okay, they're in an alliance with somebody else, not me. And then you need to target that person.
I just feel like
it's a mind thing,
Leo. You wouldn't believe anything anyone said, though. I'm like, I'll just tell you.
No, you shouldn't.
Right. What's even the point of talking about it, I guess? Like, fine. I'll just tell everyone. Then you end up like Frenchie. You're just telling everyone you're in alliance with them. I don't know.
Yeah. Nope. This is the fun of the game. You got to figure out who you can be loyal to, who's going to be loyal to you, and try to see who's an actual mess.
Well, I guess that's why I was saying, like, let's get it out in the open, right? Like, let's say, okay, it's the slaughterhouse. Like, you're going to hear about it through the grapevine. Our alliance is bigger than yours. And then I could be in a smaller alliance and I'd be like, okay, but ours is better. And we're going to pick off one of your members. Like, I don't know if that's realistic, but I can see.
Well, no, you shouldn't hear about the alliance. No one should know about the slaughterhouse except the people in slaughterhouse. The only reason anyone.
The grapevine.
No, last season, people didn't even know about the committee. Like, they're a good alliance. BB16, people didn't know Derek and Cody had a final two from day one. Like, a good player and a good team, no one would know or see it coming.
Do you think 8 is like automatically too big?
Well, 8 is too big for those of us who enjoy watching a game because it's a majority, but 8 is exactly what you want because you want to always have the majority of votes. So they specifically make it 8 in a house of 16.
Okay. I guess what I mean, though, is like that number of people. I feel like that's beyond the critical mass where it's like realistic to expect it. So like at that point, maybe like, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like someone's going to spill this early with that size group. But obviously, you do have to make a voting block for sure. So
right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, we as viewers hope it implodes. Let's talk about some future targets because tomorrow will be the eviction and someone will be a new HOH. Thank goodness. We're going to get a new HOH. And there are a ton of people who don't want to win HOH. A ton of people who want to lay low and play it cool, like Xavier, Derek F. Even Kylan said like he didn't want to win. Tiffany doesn't really want to win. Claire doesn't want to win. Like there are some people who I wish would want to win who don't want to. But the people who do want to win have been talking about their targets, and it seems like Brent is the target for one side, and Claire is the target for the other group of people. So those are our high chances we're going to see those on the block.
I wonder, so what do you think is keeping Frenchie safe right now?
It's weird. I think it's just because when you win the first HOH, people are like, whatever you want. I love you. You're my best friend. Yes. And even though they're like, okay, wait, he's a little off his rocker. I can't trust him. It's a big leap to go, I'm going to take him out though. Okay. It's like you have to take several steps almost. It's like, okay, now I'm not sure I trust him, but they're just not ready to take him out yet.
Okay. Do you think now this might be a stupid question. Can you nominate as HOH, can you nominate someone who's on your team?
Apparently not. I mean, this is a new twist this year. We're not used to this. But the first week they said the HOH's team is safe. They can't be nominated.
Oh, right. The team itself is safe. I remember that.
Right. And they haven't announced officially that that's every week, but I'm assuming it is.
Yeah. And then do you think they'll reshuffle like Survivor at some point? Like if one team
I think they're just going to just quit the teams after 4 weeks. I think we'll just go to an individual. It'll be the merge. We'll just be individual teams at that point. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why, like you want someone who was nominated, you want like a Kyland or an Alyssa to exact revenge the next week on the person who put them up is what you would want to see. But they've been gaslit. You know, they think Frenchie really does want to work with them. And so they're not.
Gaslit by Frenchie? Like, I guess I feel like there are enough other people in the house, like the looks that we saw when, drop your buffs. The looks that we saw when Alyssa got nominated. Like, I feel like there are enough people who see his BS. My thought on keeping him around was just that he's so off his rocker. You kind of assume that someone else will want to take him out later, and maybe he's kind of a shield for you if you can keep him out of power. But the risk of him gaining power again would be enough for me to want to target him. Yeah.
And I think the girls that he made this French Kisses alliance with might get there quicker because they see that he is going to use this information, and he already has. And that's what makes him dangerous, and even not in power.
And those must be the same players who were told from the beginning that he didn't want to nominate a woman, and then he did. So like they obviously see through him, I think, at this point, right? Like they're pretending that they don't, because of course that's what you do. But I feel like him staying around is nothing more than people just assuming like it makes more sense to kind of blindside someone else at this point. I just can't think of any other reasons like helpful to have him there.
No, he really is dangerous. I mean, there are plenty of times leaving someone in the game makes sense where you're just like, I don't need to worry about them. They're going to blow up their own game. Like, let someone else take care of them. But he is a danger because he's aligned with so many people, because he talks so much. He's going to throw you under the bus. He already has thrown a ton of people under the bus.
And then you're going to have to get the door for him.
Right this way, sir. I do want to say Brittany, because she was like the first one to kiss his butt. She ran information to him. She was so loyal to him, but he did throw her name out there. She heard it and she like learned her lesson. And I love that. She has figured him out and staying away, but pretending to still be loyal. And he still really likes her. And so that's the kind of stuff I want to see. That.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Claire, like that was kind of out of nowhere when you mentioned that to me. I mean, I guess she won a competition, but, and she's in the Sirens, right? So I guess she has some stuff going for her. Is she just seen as a bigger threat for that reason?
I think she just doesn't connect with, like, Alyssa doesn't really connect with her or like her. Brent she's not hot enough for Brent or something. I'm not sure. Right. Like, they just don't seem to click with her or connect with her.
So it's just like you think it's just like a social thing and not much more? Okay.
Yeah. She hasn't done anything to them. She hasn't, shown how smart she is. I do hear a lot of people talking about Hannah as being too smart, but it doesn't sound like
on the feed? On the feed or on Twitter?
Yeah, on the feeds. Like other house guests are like, like Alyssa was like, Hannah's too smart,
Well, I guess Hannah really dangerous. She really blew it because, right, didn't she like graduate college when she was 19 and she was trying to
She is really smart.
She was trying to pose as not smart, and I guess that didn't work.
It'll catch up with you. But they're not targeting her yet. So, I mean, We'll see. We'll see. It depends on who wins the HOH. It's probably going to be a crapshoot where anyone could win. So even people who are trying to throw it, they might still end up with it. So I'm just looking forward to a new reign.
Yeah, I feel like second HOH would be like I'm a little surprised to hear so many people don't want it. Like I think after the first week goes through, like you could first of all, I think it's not as much of a target. Like being first HOH is just like you're there for a lot of those foundational moments. Also, if you could manage to have kind of a calm reign, then you might seem like I think there would be a way to be HOH and not seem like as much of a threat, kind of follow other people's leads, but like try to guide conversations. It's early enough that it won't be like a pivotal eviction.
That's actually a downside to some of these people who don't want to show their cards yet, and if they accidentally become HOH, what they will do of taking the easy route is they'll put Derek X up because he has become the scapegoat, and it'll be a real bummer if we just see a week of Derek being the target for no reason. I mean, he hasn't actually done anything to anybody. People built up stories about him, and it's kind of sad. But I'd rather see Ozza go become HOH and like target a Brent. Like that's a big move. Or even like I don't want to see anyone from the slaughterhouse win, but if Brent does go up and puts, who he thinks are real targets, not Derek X up, like, okay, at least he's playing the game. But another week of slaughterhouse being in power doesn't bode well for the season.
Yeah, I am, for me, like Slaughterhouse's power feels so compromised by Frenchie's place in it. Like, not to fixate on Frenchie here, but it's really hard for me to imagine him lasting that long, and that makes me question whether Slaughterhouse really will be that influential. Like, my hope, whoever goes next, my hope would be that someone either outside of Slaughterhouse gets power and gets rid of Frenchie, because I think that would be the move, or someone inside of Slaughterhouse gets fed up or decides he's too much of a liability, and then things get interesting, because I bet a lot of people in Slaughterhouse are not going to like that, even though they might agree with some of the reasons. And so I guess having someone who's a real loose cannon in this majority alliance is probably good for the game.
It's interesting. I mean, having anyone who's this messy is very interesting to watch. I wouldn't want to be aligned with him, but it's very interesting to watch.
Well, that's what Alana and I were talking about. Like, she was saying, like, I said, what horrible casting. Like, I'm so sick of watching him. She said, oh, it's great casting because it's so chaotic for all the reasons you're saying. And I get that. I guess my feeling, though, is that I really like this season of The Bachelorette, because what Katie's doing is she is giving the problem children one episode and then getting rid of them. And I think that's enough. Like, I don't really need to see like a Chad on The Bachelorette, or like a Luke P deep into the season. Sorry, references. But like, and I think that is, I get the casting for that kind of personality, but 1 or 2 episodes is enough for me. Then I'm just watching the same thing again and again. Like, seeing it on Twitter is enough for me at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I totally understand Frenchie's casting, and I understand why he's been a finalist and an alternate several seasons. Like, this is not his first time here. Obviously, it's first time on the show, but like, I totally get it. He is a frenetic mess who thinks he knows the game, but is really not good at the game. Of course, I want to cast this person. Like, that is, that's fun and exciting. But we really honestly can only handle so much of that, right?
Imagine actually playing a game. I guess for me, like, I get it. I think it's good casting for all those reasons. My wish as a viewer is to see a game that is well played, and the way he plays it's just sloppy, And I think that you could have like good, riveting, interesting TV. Like everyone has great personalities, but they're all washed out right now, right? Like the other 15 contestants are good casting too. And also he's HOH. So I mean it makes sense. He's getting all the airtime.
Right.
But it's there's, a lot of different forms of entertainment, right? Like if we were at game night, I would not want Frenchie there.
Back to game night. No, I agree. The casting this year is really good. There are a lot of great people in this cast. So yeah, we need to see more of them. Yeah, we don't need it to just be the Frenchie show for sure. Lady Di just brought up this Christian and Derek X conversation because they were penned against each other via lies from Frenchie. Nothing true. So Christian tried to clear the air and DX was like, dude, that never happened. Frenchie's the one who brought up your name to me. So they did have a great talk, but Christian, ironically, is falling into this, like, we got to target the girls. Like, we got to keep the guys strong. And the guys don't actually like Christian. The guys are the ones who want Christian out. And the girls are the ones talking about protecting him. It's so bonkers.
Yeah, my fear is just that the backstabbing, there's this like very quick cycle where the guys try to be evolved and progressive, decide that all other guys are bad, talk shit about them, backstab them, and then they hug it out. And then they feel bonded because they got through it. And then they target women.
That is 100% what I've been watching. I didn't realize that was a thing, but that is absolutely what's happening.
It's a weird performative, fake woke kind of thing where they just they want to be evolved, but they so quickly just slide back into male bonding. Yeah,
I just wish that Christian realized, like, Tiffany wants to keep him in the, like, she's talking like, hey, I like him, let's keep him. Ozza's saying these things, I wish Christian was aware who was really working with him. He might get caught up as a pawn or a nom here.
Now, is Derek X? I know Derek X and Tiffany are getting on, right?
Yeah, they're really doing.
I think I read that Tiffany saw him as sort of basically her puppy dog, and I'm curious, like, could he somehow work that to his advantage?
Yeah, she actually has been sort of talking him up. They just get along. Like, they click. Their sense of humor is click. They have so much fun together. They're really fun to watch on the feeds together. And then because he doesn't know the game and she does, she'll give him little tips here and there. And so you can really see him growing and like learning how this game works. And then when she has conversations with other people, because she's great one-on-one with other people, with everyone, she'll say, like, I don't know, Derek, he's like, what is he? Is he a threat? Like, is he doing anything? He's not doing it. Like, she does her little bit to protect him or to like try to sway the target off of his back. So I don't think anyone's really coming for him other than he's that easy. Like, I don't want to show my cards. I'll just put up Derek X.
Okay, so that's interesting. Right, it's like not controversial. He doesn't have a strong enough alliance. He hasn't sort of established himself as threatening in some way.
No, he's not. I mean,
he's a physical
did really well. He is. He's a physical and a puzzle threat. Like, he is smart. So I mean, he could be seen as a threat here eventually if he keeps winning comps. But yeah, no. And the people that Tiffany can be super honest with, she has said, like, I think he's a number for me. I don't want him going. Right. So that is helping him. But we'll, again, we'll see. We will see. But so as of now, you guys, Travis will be evicted tomorrow. I do expect, though, with all the campaigning that is going to happen tonight, Frenchie will start to spiral. And then who knows what will happen. And maybe we'll see a flip vote here. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to see a split vote and not unanimous. That would be very exciting. And then, you guys, new HOH.
Hope the slaughterhouse blows up is all I...
Yay! That's right. I'm on board with that. Absolutely. You guys, thank you so much for joining us live in the chat. We love hearing all of your insight. Leo, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm such a novice to this, so I feel like I just got an education And
yeah,
I loved being here.
Thank you. Absolutely. We'll have Leo back, you guys. And tomorrow I will be here after the live eviction with David. We'll talk about all of that, and hopefully we'll know who the new HOH is by then. We'll see. And if you're joining us later, leave a comment, please. Let us know how you feel about this HOH reign, about Travis leaving or maybe staying. Let us know all of your thoughts. And we will see you next time. Bye.